What's happening, people? We're back once again on CubCamTV with a setup I haven't used in what seems like absolutely forever. I ain't recorded live from this room in absolutely ages. It's amazing to be back in the cave. Man like Dread MC joins us on the line today. How are you doing, sir? You all good?
All good, always, all good.
That's what we like to hear, man. That's what we like to hear. It's good to get you on the show. Obviously, we've done a couple of these kind of interviews over the years. We did quite an extensive one, I think, towards the end of 2018. I think it was maybe towards the end of 2019. Talking through, and we were just kind of talking through a bit of kind of back history for yourself. Now, with this new series of interviews that we're looking to do, this is going to be a lot more sort of based around specific topics and things that are more sort of picked out by the guests. Because obviously, I know you're someone who likes to have a point to what they're doing more than anything else.
Oh, sugar, I didn't look at, I did put a post out, but I haven't looked on it. So actually, I didn't know if anybody did even bothered messaging at all, actually. But I'm on my phone, so I can't even get to look now.
Well, it's all good. You know, I've got a ton of questions here that I'm kind of keen to get into and keen to discuss, because obviously, for yourself, being someone that's very involved in kind of bass music as a whole, not necessarily just as a live MC, but someone who's been involved in a lot of different projects with a lot of different labels over the years, and someone who's almost kind of like overseen what's going on, especially with the show now over at SWU as well. The first kind of thing I want to kind of get into is more kind of looking at music making from your kind of viewpoint, because obviously you're someone who you're not necessarily someone who's building the instrumentals as much, although I know you have a big say in what's going on. So do you want to just kind of talk me through the process of how a Dread MC vocal comes into being?
I get loads of instrumentals. I actually get a lot, and it's nice that a lot of people up for collaborating and working with me. So you can, well, you know, my release schedule is just nuts anyway. So of course. I don't even know what the number. I think I'm probably close to, well, I must have done nearly 50 tracks. And obviously there's quite a few that I haven't put my name to, or I've co-written for other artists and stuff like that. But it has to be over 50 now, actually, thinking about it. I had a couple of signed recently. So I get loads of instrumentals come through. So you can imagine the amount of tunes that don't actually go forward, or nothing might happen. I've did work with some Australian artists recently. They hit me up. I was already in the studio at like 2 a.m, sent me over the beat. I sent them back the vocal within an hour. But they didn't use it in the end, but they didn't message me back. And I just thought it was courtesy to like message me back. Maybe that is a little bit strange. Like, I mean, yeah, I was going to say from your angle, just to interject slightly, like, do you want as many of the things that you kind of get sent over to come out, or are you quite picky with what you kind of, do you ever kind of go, you know what, I'm not happy with it, let's not do it? Yeah, that happens. But I'm a very straight person. Some people take it really personally, and I'm like always trying to speak to them, and you know, like, I want tunes to work, and if I'm going to work on a tune with somebody, I want it to be the best tune. I want every tune that I do to do well. So that's why I'm really like hands-on with a lot of stuff, and people might think I'm a bit picky, but it's all for like good reason. Like, I feel like I want every tune to really generally do well. Like, I'm not just jumping on tunes for the sake of it, which I just never really have done really for a good couple of years now. And I feel like some people don't really know how to take criticism, like, and I feel that's a very important part of the scene. And I feel like some people rush. What I do is a clause so now I have a terms and conditions that I did before lockdown happened. And one of the main things on there is that I don't help push to labels, because I noticed that people was trying to collaborate with me to hopefully get signed to a certain label.
Of course.
So I literally just put that in the clause from the get-go, like, I have nothing to do with pushing out to labels, because I just want to make music, and that's deep in me. I just want to make original music. And then people might message me, oh, I want a tune that you made with such and such, or I want a vocal that's the same as that. And I said that all those tunes just come naturally. Like, my best tunes are the ones that just come in where I'm just actually in the mic, just chatting whatever, and I'd be like, actually, I like that line. Let me work on that line. Or I like that line. And we go back and forth. And I said, if I'm in the studio with an artist, those are almost like the better tunes, because it's really hard in this current situation working remotely, because you don't really know what somebody's like. So if I'm working with a new producer, I bring them on the phone straight away, whether they're in Austria or Australia. We just chat on the phone just so I can get to know them, and then we kind of have a vibe, and I play them some rough ideas that I'm working on. rather than us both wasting our time. Because if they've already got an image in their head of what they want, then and that's it. But I like to just be creative, so nobody ever knows what vocal they're going to get from me. It could be kind of this kind of melody hooky vibe. It could be this ragga kind of vibe. I just want to just be experimental and just make every tune quite different and unique. So.
Of course, man. Of course, and I think that's something that is that very much plays into your favour a lot of the time, because you are someone who's had so much experience in building tunes, and you're someone that's been there through so many different eras. Like, at this point, when people send music over to you, like, what's the sort of first thing you look for in regards to what you're listening for?
Quality. The production has to be a good quality. Everywhere there's no point. Like, I message people back saying, the production's like just too low, just needs tightening up, or these drums don't match, or it's just too muddy. Or then I put them in touch with, I've got a really good engineer friend. There's two people that I send them over to. There's Wesley Park, and the other guy is Alex Holmes, and he writes for Music Tech magazine. I might, if I feel like the tune has got really good potential and stuff, I put them in contact with either those two, and they're able to give good feedback, or eventually over time we might have a tune at the end of it if they kind of work with them, and we see the end results from that. It's been amazing. But that's happened a lot with tunes with certain people. I said, you might give it to another engineer to mix down, or get my vocals processed by somebody else, or you get the stems mixed down by somebody else, or do you know what I mean? Like, I've even had a project given to Joker. Joker to me is one of the best in the game. So he's helped on a couple of stuff that I've got coming for next year.
Definitely, man. And I think that that almost need for high quality is something that it does kind of set you apart now, because when you look across, there are a lot of different kind of vocalists, I'd say, across bass music, but normally the names that come up usually first, you're usually top of that list now. You know, there's other people doing different sorts of things and different types of vocal, but I feel for like an overall package, you are very much at the top of that list. Like, how do you see that? I mean, that's the truth, and you know that we've had lots of conversations about this behind the scenes, where I've spoken to you about tunes from like years and years ago that I remember hearing back in the day. And I think the interesting thing with that is, obviously, with the sound of bass music being so in flux at the moment, you know, we don't really know where it's going. There's splinter sort of genres going off in different directions the whole time. Are there any sort of preferences you're finding in regards to the new sounds that are coming out in regards to vocals?
I just want to make new music. So if somebody's got something that's interesting and standing out, like, I feel like I don't make bangers. I think I make tunes that kind of stand out, or they would stick out in a set, or they're quite unique. I don't make that many club bangers, if that makes sense. That's not like my main push for music. So sometimes that doesn't come across hardly. So I'm always trying to make a tune that kind of sticks out in a set, or you can listen to at home, or just vibes to. I'm just trying to always make different music and have a vocal that really sticks out, or be a bit weird. I love it when people don't really know what I've actually said on a tune. That's even interesting as well. And music is always subjective. So even stuff like that. And I'm not trying to tell people, oh, this lyric is written and you should be feeling this type of way about it. I just want people to just enjoy whatever the music is, and it's their own perception of what they might think it is.
Definitely. I can fully get that. I can fully get that. I think as well, obviously, with dance music not necessarily being, shall we say, the most introspective sort of genres out there. You know, it's much more about being in the moment, and it's much more about kind of how music makes you physically feel. You know, more so than kind of necessarily sitting back and sort of analysing and thinking through things as much. But I definitely feel the varied kind of approach you've been having recently, especially over the lockdown period, has been really, really exciting to watch. So just to kind of get a bit of a catch up from yourself, how many people have you been working with over this period? Because I know you've been busy. I know you're always busy.
I've been working with a lot of people. The joke is, I'm just thinking of it, I haven't worked with that many people from the UK, I don't think. Not really. A lot of people have been from abroad. So I have a small charge that I just charge everybody. So I just keep everything fair. So I just have a small charge that I just charge everyone. And it's usually just to kind of cover my time and my costs, just so it's running, because I want music to be going out anyway. So have that. And like, there's just lots of people that I kind of work with. I've worked a lot with Jack the Fish Works from Japan. That has been really amazing. But I said to him after we made the first tune, after he sent me the first tune and I vocaled it really quickly, like I said to him, we should do an EP or we should do a project together. And he was literally umming and ahhing saying, oh, I don't know if I'm going to have time. We'll just work on this tune. Eventually, after a couple of months, he's just like, yeah, we need to, we finished 4 tunes, but we have started five in a way. And 3 of them are definitely signed. And even one label's turned it down and it's like one of my favorite labels. But then I speak to the label manager from that, and I was just saying, I was surprised you turned it down. But another label that I really respect has signed it anyway. So there's no drama, and there's never any dramas. I try to have no dramas at all with any labels or any artists. So that's been good. And me and Taiki New, like when we speak on the phone, it's for a long time, and I love working with him. And we always try and make something different and unique. Like
definitely, and
so he's one person I work with.
I was going to say as well, obviously, just touching on something you kind of mentioned there, you are someone, as I said, that's been around for so long, and you do seem to be someone that, without putting it quite bluntly, everyone's fond of. You know, you're someone that is in this kind of like, you're seen as quite like a kind of an ambassador.
You know.
You see, this is the thing. Publicly, I definitely think that is the case. I mean, you ask anyone, everyone's kind of like, oh yeah, it'd be sick to get dread on this. It'd be sick to get dread on this. Like, how do you think that's kind of come around? Because obviously I think you're a nice guy. Come on, let's be real.
Yeah, maybe, but I've had loads of. I know certain things that I don't talk about. Yeah, I know of a DJ who said, "Oh, I'm not really into dread," but he didn't realize he played 2 of my tracks, but my name's not on there. There's one track I've done with Shift Key. He played it in the set, so this manager was like saying, "I couldn't believe it. It's like 3rd tune in. It was a tune that you're vocaled on," but he literally was just kind of bad-mouthing you, not in a horrible way, but just say, oh no, I'm not really, dread's a bit bait. And I said, but that's all right. If people's got that opinion, that's fine. Like, it doesn't really bother me. I'm just always just trying to be, honesty is the best policy. So I always 100%. Just try and be straight with people. So even if anyone's got an issue with me about anything, because I've always been honest, I've got nothing to like backtrack on, or if I said anything about anybody, I could just say it to their face because it would just be the truth anyway. And I'm not a malicious person in any way, and I've got no reason to be. Like,
of course.
So
no,
I'm just always cool. So, but obviously, people's gonna think that, and people's gonna be like, "Oh, it's dread again on a tune," but that's not really my fault, and I don't really care. Though. I don't really.
But no, this is the thing. This is the point. This is kind of like the point I wanted to bring up, because you are by far the most active out of that sort of vocalist sort of like collection of artists. Why do you think people necessarily would see that differently to a producer who puts a lot of music out there?
Yeah, I don't know, because you have like. I remember when Chris Lorenzo put out, I can't remember how many it was, beats he makes a year. And I've been with him. Like I've had one of the best studio sessions I've had with a producer, just working with him, and we've made ideas. It was actually, we was working on a tune for Skrillex. It was a collab he was doing with Skrillex, and I was doing the vocal over that. So I weren't telling anybody. So it's about 3 or 4 years ago. So I weren't telling that, because I never really say anything to anybody until things are happening or it's going to come out and happen. So in the end, the tune that got made was Never Say Never. But even then, it was 1.5 years later before he actually used the vocal. So Never Say Never was just a vocal idea. But I remember at the time, like, I saying to him, oh, the recording setup in his house just wasn't right. And we took the stuff out of the wardrobe, and I put the microphone in the wardrobe and had it up there, and it sounded incredible. But his mix down on the vocal and the processing the vocal was still one of the best. And people still message me now saying, could you do a tune like Never Say Never, like Mind Control? And I just remember that studio session. And even before he went to the States, me and him was up till so late, and we worked on about 3 ideas. And I've always down for working, regardless of who it is. Like, I'm just an actual worker, and I'm just trying to just create music non-stop. And I'm in the studio a lot more than people probably even imagine. You
know what? This is a point I was going to make. Whenever we've spoken, you've been in the studio. Like, I don't think we've actually had a phone call or a conversation where you haven't been in the studio at that time. which I find kind of crazy.
Well, you have to be a little bit obsessive. Like, if you want, I'm nowhere near where I want to be as an artist. I have seen the progression that I've had, and I'm not where I really want to be. But what I do like is music makes me happy. So me spending time with my family, like, I don't watch any telly. I've watched one single film that I can think of in my head since we've been in lockdown. So since March, I haven't watched any series except for Ozark. And what am I watching at the moment? I can't even tell you what I'm watching right now, because I don't watch telly. I don't watch any telly. I don't really watch the news.
All of that kind of free time and like sort of spare time, it just goes straight into
music. It's honestly like my headphones are on in my house. I could be washing up. I'm listening to music. I'm listening to beats.
Crazy,
I chill with my girl like now and again, but we don't even watch much telly together. But we do watch one series at a time. But it takes time, and she's really into cooking at the moment. And any spare time, if I'm not with my kids, honestly, I am addicted. And she says it, I'm addicted to music. Literally, as soon as I get in my car to do the school run, music's on. I might be listening to a beat people sent me. I might be listening to myself and be like, oh, I could have changed that. Or let me just change this vocal up, change one word on that. Like, I'm constantly working. Even before you set up to call me now, I was trying to upload this project.
I was going to bring this up literally. For those people locked in, literally, as the phone call kind of came through, there's a keyboard that's slightly off screen on the shot, but literally Dread was sat there opening up a project. The first thing he said was, "Wait a second, I'm opening up a project." It's the first thing he said when we started off this Zoom call. I mean, this is the thing. How kind of important is that obsession on the road to success in a field like that you are currently in?
I don't know. Whether I make it or don't make it as an artist, I want to know that I tried my hardest. And what I've got from like hanging out with Red Light from a young age, we said at the very start, early days, we're in it for the longevity. We're in it to have integrity. And you have to just work hard at your craft. Whatever that craft is, you just have to work hard at it. So I want to know that I never got complacent. And I feel that's a very strong word. It's like, don't get complacent. Don't think that you can, it's happened in this lockdown. It's just, everything's just switched overnight. And my girl always worried about me before this happened, before the lockdown happened. She just said, when music does stop, I worry about your kind of mental health, because you live for this music. But she said, I've dealt with it so well since we've been in lockdown. And I was just like, I'm surprised at how well I've dealt with it, really, because it's an emotional thing. I've lived my whole life, my whole adult life, going to parties and doing music, and that's my whole lifestyle. My livelihood is in music and socializing. So it is a massive blow for me, and it is hurtful. I see videos. We got some videos sent today just in our WhatsApp group, and I said, even though I love seeing them, it makes me sad, and it hurts me. I can physically feel the pain when I see some of these videos, and I see the reaction from intimate clubs to mass festivals. It's insane.
Definitely, man. I mean, I don't want to linger on it too long, because obviously we're oh, where's he gone? I think his video's gone.
Oh, hold on. End and accept. Oh, decline. Hold on.
He's back. There we go.
So he's trying to ring me.
But you know what it is? We've never had one single session where a camera hasn't turned off or a connection hasn't gone funny at one point on this YouTube channel whenever we've gone live. They're called Brecknicals rather than Technicals. So there we go, but it's in the evening this time around. Yeah, just kind of to move things forward then. I don't want to linger on the topic too much, because I know we're quite keen on discussing kind of like specific topics with this with this discussion. But yeah, would you say obviously with lockdown happening, would you say it's kind of upped your work rate more than anything else?
Nah, I couldn't work any harder than I was before. Like, I always felt like, I need more time. Like, I have to lie to my girl. Well, before, I used to sneak out of my house, like, at 1, 2 in the morning, and my girl didn't know I was out. Look, that happened loads of times. And then she just said, it's not nice that you're sneaking out to go to the studio to record, but I used to sneak out quite a lot.
That's madness.
And sometimes get in just as the baby was waking up at the time, like, and she'd be like, Mikkel, I'd be at the bottom of the stairs. Yeah, it's like, can you get a bottle of milk? And I was like, oof. Like, Like,
That's crazy.
I remember putting on Interstellar. Interstellar was like a long movie, so I put that on downstairs, and I'd go to the studio, and it would usually be finishing by the time, and she'd probably think I was watching a film. But that went on for a little while. But we kind of talked about that, and she said it wasn't nice. So
yeah, of course. I mean, but I think to an extent, like that kind of level of dedication to really using every inch of time, you know, every second, every spare minute that you have in that sort of studio scenario, it is something that you do kind of have to take your hat off to, because obviously we both speak to people, I feel, that are kind of like, yeah, at some point I'll get round to finishing that, or at some point I'll get round to mixing and mastering that, or at some point I'll get round to sending some stems over. I think you're quite like me in this sort of scenario, in the case that once you know something needs to be done, you want to get it done as soon as you can.
Yeah, I try my best to, and I feel like I know I upset a couple of maybe producers that are waiting for vocal stems and that, but it's like this. There really is that creative side of you. Like sometimes I come to the studio and I would have like 8 instrumentals from people, and sometimes some of them I don't even listen to. I just upload them into the project. I'll be like that, and then I'll just get the mic out. I ain't even listened to the beat yet, and I'll just press record, and I'll just be like blah, 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 just chatting, and I'll be then listen back and be like, oh, that sounds good. Let me take that out. That's a vocal stem, and that's just how I work, because I've got so little time. I'm making every moment work. So sometimes when I come to the studio, I just turn my phone off on airplane mode and say to my girl, yeah, you just have to send me a WhatsApp message. But I don't want to chat to nobody. And then I might make some phone calls. When I've done loads of recording and I have to bounce down stems and stuff, I might shout at a producer. I might shout just someone just for a chat.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It's still work related. It's literally it's still always work related.
It is kind of crazy. It's a lifestyle more than anything else. Then I suppose is the best way of putting it.
It really is.
It's not necessarily just like a thing you do for work. It is a lifestyle. It's a life path, I suppose, that you follow.
Yeah,
really
I would say it's a strong lifestyle for me, and of the way how I live. It's literally just how I live, really, and I enjoy it. But I also, it's not even just the enjoyment. It's good for my mental health. I just know that 100%.
Of course, man. Of course. I mean, we had one more general topic that I did want to discuss before we round this one off. This has been really, really good so far. I've really enjoyed getting back in the cave and talking live and all that good stuff. New microphones and things. It's great. But yeah, I wanted to kind of ask, obviously, with all of these projects that you are always working on, why haven't we ever seen a solo Dread project? Because looking at it, there are so many vocalists out there who have stuff kind of produced, and they're the kind of leading force on it. It's them produced by, or them kind of featuring it, and it tends to be with yourself that Dread MC is usually featured. Why is that? Why has that never been the other way around?
I'll just be straight and honest with you. Yeah, when it's a project for me, the love is not there on the track. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
So I've got tunes that I've been sat on for a couple of years, and there's producer. You know how many producers I work. I work with so many producers. So even to the point where I've done maybe 2 tunes for a producer, then I'm like saying, then there's one producer I said, actually, he's not really into the tune. He thinks it's a bit too. I played it in the reaction. Miney Lang played it in the set, and the reaction was incredible. So when he said he wasn't really into it, I said, actually, I'll have it for my own project then. Like, Jim, he didn't give it me. And it was like, this could cause a fallout and a problem. And I was just like, I remember speaking to his manager saying, actually, we really like the track. Well, I want him to put it on like his next EP, but he's like not really happy with the mix. I said, even if he's not happy with it, let's give it to somebody else to mix down. But then if it's not really going to be for him anymore, and it will be for me, then I want to have it. And then, yeah, that's just one example, but this has happened a lot over the years. So unless I'm going to do my own project, it has to be 100%. It has to be the best thing I've ever possibly done, because then it's a resemblance of me and it's what I want to achieve. I do want to do my own solo project, and I've made something for somebody's album that's coming out next year. And this artist has been around for years, and he's a big artist, and it's going to be his first debut album. And the tune I've made for him, I was just like, actually, this is the sound that I want to But even he had to give the vocals for someone else to process, because we both knew how sick this could be, like, in a way. And he knows, like you said, he's got it good, but he knows he can get it better. And I said, can you get it better than this? I said, this is sounding sick as it is. And then when it come back, I was like, frig me, this is amazing. I said, now I can see the level. If I'm going to do something for my own project, this is the level I want it to kind of be at. But at the same time, I need to get the production to that standard. And then I need the team of people around me to make sure it's going to be the best thing that I ever do. So I'm working on a solo project, but I haven't put a date on it or when it's going to come, because I don't even want that pressure on me. I just want to, it might be an EP, it might be an album, but I'm just going to make some tunes now. I'm focusing a lot more about tunes that are going to be more for me. So one tune I'm working on with Taiki, we haven't even finished, but I've done the vocals, he's got the beat, and I know it's going to just take time because I'm a little bit fussy anyway, and they're not even my tunes, they're feature tunes. I sent tunes back 4 or 5 times, and even a tune that got recently signed, the label kept sending it back to the producer saying, can you change this? Told them about another producer I worked with. They asked me to hit up that producer to how do you process the vocals for this tune with Dread? He was like, he was really nice, really helpful, told them whatever the program was, they done it. And I said to them, even though the label keep knocking it back, every time it's come back, it's got better and better. So I said, I'm not even upset. They was like saying, oh, if we send it off again, that's it, I'm going to go to another label. And I said, it's not even good saying that. I said, it's actually sounding better every time you send it back. So even if they do send it back again, I'm just interested to see how better the tune can get from here on.
How good it can get in the long run.
And they eventually signed it off, and it's going to be on a good label, and it's next year. But same again, one artist is from Serbia, and the other artist is from Amsterdam.
Crazy.
And it's a freeway collab, and it's going to be good. Like,
I mean, we've spoken a fair bit, just on a bit of an off-topic one here. We've spoken a fair bit about the international sort of collaboration and that sort of side of things, and that's something you've really kind of almost upped the levels on during the lockdown period. There's been a bit more kind of international sort of an approach going on. Is that something you kind of planned, or is that something that just seems to have happened without realising?
It just happened. Like, I felt like some people wouldn't want to pay for a vocal. Like, say if I'd done a tune with somebody before and then they don't really want to pay for like my time or like the studio costs. Because obviously I spent so much time of my own money. I spent so much of my own money to get features done, and the limelight would be mainly on the producer and stuff like that, or eventually it'll be like a year or a year and a half before I even see any bit of money from that release. Or I'm not going out to DJ and getting books for shows from it, so I wouldn't have made any money from that initially. But I think the international thing just come naturally, really, and I like it because then you're getting different music. That's like my main focus, is getting different music and different sounds. And I just wanted to be not just, even when I was younger, I didn't want to just be an artist that's just known in Gloucester or just had a network of like hype around my name in Gloucester. I wanted my name everywhere.
Of course.
So then straight away, I was just like, I want my music everywhere. I want my sound to be worldwide. Like, literally, I've been in contact with like a Latino like rapper. Like, if that happens, and a French rapper has hit me up as well. He's been in a bike accident and knocked out his teeth, so he's in hospital at the moment. But he messaged me and said, yeah, he wants to do a collab. And then that week he had a really bad bike accident. But anything like that can happen. I'm not saying no to anymore. If the music's decent and I'm happy with the vibe, I'm just gonna get involved. Definitely, like, literally, just get involved.
And I honestly find that to be such a refreshing attitude. The fact that you do want to just kind of go and get as much done as possible, and you want to kind of do it with as many kind of people. You know, you want to just spread that name as much as possible. And I definitely say over the course of, especially since we've been speaking, even with that, I definitely say that it's become very, very apparent that that's the case, and the kind of benefits of that seemingly, at least from the outside, the perspective is very much that people are very aware. As I said, that in my eyes, you are now that sort of top dog in regards to vocals, especially in UK-based music specifically. Just to kind of round off, then, what's next from yourself? What's next on the horizon? The
next would be just to go back a little bit and then onto this, a lot of labels, managers, artists thought I wasn't doing the right thing. They said, "Oh, you're over flooding the market. But after a year or 18 months later, a lot of people said you've set yourself up in the best position you could possibly be in if you're going to move into doing anything solo, like have an album that's going to be like your own solo project, or if you set up your own label or anything like that. And obviously shout out to Cygnus Music, like they've been growing massively as a distribution company, and that's like my team really. I feel like I've built up a name and a nice following worldwide. So if I go to do my own project, I'm hoping people would get behind me and people would support me. And then I can actually go and reach out to lots of artists to either come and feature on it or hopefully do a remix on it. But like I said, I don't want to put any pressure on myself to deliver something within sort of a time scale, or if it will be an EP, it might just end up being one single and it'll just be mine. But whatever it is, I feel like I've worked up to get my own confidence up, because I've had loads and loads of knockbacks, which I never talk about growing up. There's been loads of like underlying digs that I've had over the years, but at the same time, I've always been comfortable with myself. I've always been happy being a hype man, being an MC, hosting shows, because I've enjoyed it. I love it. I'm not doing it with any secret agenda or trying to use it as a platform to get myself somewhere else. I'm doing it because I actually have a genuine love for music, traveling and being with my friends. Like,
of course,
that's just me. So I'm hoping now, I might just hopefully do my own project with a sound that I'm happy with, that's mine. And same again, I don't think I have my own individual sound. So when I do this project, it will be like, this is Dread. This is Dread.
I mean, I'm really excited to see it, because obviously all the different kind of things you have vocaled over the years, all those different influences, all the different producers you've worked with, that final kind of pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, I suppose, in regards to the sound that will be created from the back of that. For me, that's super, super interesting, and I genuinely can't wait to hear it. It's been great to have you on the line this evening, sir. Thanks for jumping on.
Big ups. Honestly, bless. And big yourself up, man, because you've been grafting and I've seen the growth. You know, I hype you up and big you up loads. So
yeah, well, it's mutual, so it's always going to be mutual. Likewise. Okay, what we'll finish up here then, guys. Thanks for watching. If it's your first time looking into the channel, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to hit 6K subscribers before the end of the year. We've got about 150 to go, I think, so we can definitely do it. Get involved, and we shall see you all next time. Peace.
Bless that, man.